They make the trek out to Burning Man for a week and a day. After a lot of work, oh, there's a lot of play. Party, 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 drama, 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 bitch, bitch, bitch. Year after year, they come back to scratch that itch. They all say their lives have been changed. After many years, lives have been rearranged. That change is what this show is all about. You'll see the impact of Burning Man up and out. So sit back, relax, and cancel all your plans. These are the stories about the shadow of the man.
Hello, and welcome to the Shadow of the Man Show. I'm your host, Andy. You're in luck. It's that Andy. Today, our guest is Lisa Scheinkopf. Is that how you spell it? Pronounce it? Scheinkopf?
Perfect.
Oh,
yeah, if you were German like my mother-in-law, you would have the up there, but that takes too long. So,
so we were just saying. So 2011 was your first year burning. So we're first year going to Black Rock City, I should say. So what got you to go to Burning Man?
So my husband and I had heard about it. We actually lived in the Bay Area in the early 2000s. We heard, or actually in the early 90s through a while, we heard about it and it was like, this just seems really cool. But time flew, life happened. Our oldest daughter ended up going with a couple of friends in 2009, and which gave us the heightened, like, okay, now we've got to do it. And so in 2011, we finally made it. We went with we were about a dozen friends. Our daughter and her partner went also. We decided it would be best if the four of us didn't camp together, but we saw each other every day, and being mom and dad, we fed them every day too. But so there were about a dozen of us friends. Three of them had been there before. One of them actually subsequently turned into a regional contact for Chicago. You may remember Hey You Kelly.
Yeah,
His name was Rich Kelly, and
Uh-huh.
his playa name became Hey You, and eventually he legally changed his name to Hey You.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
That's fun.
um, yeah. And so we, looking back on the photos from that, it's like, oh my God, the stuff that we didn't know, like the carport that we had used the strings that kind of came with the carport instead of really
Yeah.
battening down the hatches. The stuff that we had on the tables that were outside. We were so lucky it was a good weather year.
Now it's funny because even like many years in, like I don't know how many years I was in, like maybe 6 or 7, and like we got a carport and we came and we set it up and and the weather was beautiful and it was nice and there was no wind and we were just kind of hanging out. It's like, oh, we're at Burning Man. Like, why should we stake it down? Like, we have all the time in the world, and
Yeah,
we're just kind of,
just a
and then
quick
the winds
forward. So
kick up,
speaking of
and like,
carport stories, the following year we arrived, and Rich and Andy, the guys who got there before us, when we arrived to camp, we saw them running down the street chasing the carport that they were trying to put up. And then fast forward to 2 years ago, in the camp that I lead, the folks who were responsible for strike, for that part of strike, taking down the carports, um, didn't realize that they should really take the roof off or totally loosen up the roof before taking down the legs and the stakes. And all of a sudden, the carport flew across sea and impaled itself into the district bike parking lot.
uh,
So,
lucky it didn't impale a person.
I know we were, yeah, just serendipity. It was because it literally flew across 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Just imagine how many injuries like probably should be occurring
Yeah,
at Burning Man.
yeah.
Maybe two that we just nobody knows about. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, so 2011, you go with like about a dozen people from the Bay Area, you said?
No, no, we're all from Phoenix. Rich was from Chicago, but the rest of us are from Phoenix.
Oh, okay. How do you guys go from Phoenix? Do you actually drive?
You
Or
drive,
how long a
if
drive
you
is that?
drive straight through, it's a really, really long day. In those days, we would take 2 days to go.
Uh-huh.
Every year, Danny and I would increase the distance on our first day so that we could get there faster on the second day. But last year we did a totally slow way, and now we take 2 nights, with the last night being an overnight in Fernley, so we could get all of our groceries done, get in early in the morning, and makes it
Yeah.
really smooth.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Excuse me. But yeah, it's probably, if you're not towing anything, it's maybe a 12 to 14 hours straight through if you don't make any stops, if you don't have to ever stop for gas or do anything like that. But it's really about 16, 17 hours, and it's a lot of driving.
Yeah, because 12 to 14, you're just like, oh yeah, that's like Google Maps, just like straight
Yeah.
drive. Like it was
Yeah.
funny because I'm planning on going back again this year, and my brother lives in San Francisco, and so like I was like, oh, I'll fly in, and like you pick me up at the airport, and we'll just drive straight from there. And I was like, I looked at the Google Maps, like it says it's 6 hours and 15 minutes. It's like, yeah,
Nah.
at like 8 or 10,
Yeah.
because it's like the closer
Right.
you get, like the more it will slow down, and
Right. And then
like,
none of that counts the time that you spend in the 10-mile-an-hour zone or the 5 miles an hour getting to your camp.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or just like, oh look, Indian tacos on the side of the road, like
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Oh, great. So last year didn't scare you away. You're coming back again.
Well, no, it's funny because I mean I keep saying this. It was just it's like okay, not this year, not this year, not this year, and then I don't know what it was, but just like it's just a progression of people. It's just like you come to Burning Man, you coming to Burning Man, you coming to
Yeah.
Burning Man. I'm just like no, 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 and then it was like two people in one day, and they're like what? And they were genuinely like shocked and surprised, like no, you have to come to Burning Man, and they started thinking about it, and I was like, all right,
Awesome.
okay.
Awesome.
But yeah, I actually haven't talked about it in the podcast because I've just been kind of planning this, and actually, I just submitted a application with a Burning Man like media like on playa application. But I think I'm going to try an experiment at Burning Man this year. I'm calling it the Shadow Shorts. It's kind of like
Oh.
remember StoryCorps? NPR. They would like
Hmm.
yeah. So basically, just kind of, so it's kind of a somewhat similar idea because this is my show is just it's basically like 45 to 75 minutes like long form interview. I mean, it's a conversational kind of interview. So my idea was to on the playa or do what I'm calling the Shadow Short Challenge, where I'm going to challenge just average participants. And it's just
Hmm.
like okay, it's like you have 5 minutes to explain Burning Man's influence and impact on you. Go.
Love it. Love it.
Like,
That could be a cool thing to happen. I mean, I imagine you need all your equipment with you and stuff,
it's not
but
that much actually. Yeah.
it could be a cool center camp thing.
I was planning because the name of the show is A Shadow of the Man, right?
I was
And
going to say it could also be a cool man-based thing.
yeah, and I was thinking it's like I like hanging out in the shade. You know, so I was like, okay, I'll do it on the 12 o'clock side of the man from 2 to 6 every day.
Love it.
You know,
Love it.
and then just like random people that come up. I mean, my only caveat is that you kind of have to have some history of Burning Man. Like, you can't be like, I just showed up 5 minutes ago. It's like, yeah, I need to have at least like a year or two.
Yeah, well, then maybe it's like a minute or two for the people who are fresh because,
Yeah,
there's nothing like the excitement of your first year, right?
yeah. It's
That.
like you've been here for 30 minutes. What's its impact on you so far? Like, I mean, I guess that's another thing, people just be like, this is awesome. This is wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, what is
We'll
awesome
try.
about it?
Yeah,
One of the things I did remember as I thought about my burner history is that by the end of our first burn in 2011, when we left, I didn't know if I wanted to go back. I was like, okay, this was
yeah.
cool. This was really neat. Never done or seen anything like this. But would I want to come back again? And I really didn't know. It wasn't like a no, but I really didn't know. By the time we were halfway home, though, we were already planning for 2012. So it was just, I was just like, go, 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 and didn't have a chance to let all of the experience sink in until I had a time to breathe and really reflect
Well, a good almost like 12, 14, 16 or 2 days drive back home. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's an excellent time to reflect,
yeah,
and then you get the whole, the next year at Burning Man kind of conversations.
Right, right. And it was always better next year. And it is. It's always different next year, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, as Larry always said, it's like it's an evolution, each
Mhm.
year. I mean, but even though it's just like there's a lot of the same core things are the same. And that's why like people ask me, it's like, oh, you took 13 years and you came off, and it's just like, what's different? I'm like, it's more of what's the same, actually.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's still the bones are still there, even though it's like some. And no matter what era you pick, people in 1996 were like, "Oh, this isn't the same as it was in 1990."
Right.
Like people in like
Right. I think
2006 were like,
90, 95 or 96, something like that. That is around when we first heard about it. And it
and you were
was,
living in the Bay Area then, right?
no, we were living in the Bay Area in probably 2000. It wasn't the
Oh,
1990s that we were in the Bay Area. We
oh,
were in the
okay.
Bay Area in 2000. But, one of the things you asked me, what was my life like before then? I wasn't involved in anything like Burning Man before then. I
Uh,
mean, I have a bunch of friends who are artists, but I wouldn't say I was part of the artist community. We
uh,
did a lot of concerts, but we never did raves.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's
Upstanding
lots of
business
arts.
consultant, mom, all that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
life was just life, and we were just trying to,
So
to make a life.
going back
So
to 2011, so your first year, you have a great time, you're coming back, and you're just it's like, oh, I don't know. But then the more you drive, you're like, hmm. So what kind of got you to come back? And what did you do after that? Like,
it a lot of the specialness for me of Burning Man is it really is it really is the now for something different week, right? And
hmm
every year it's now for something completely different. It's the ability the freedom to just, kind of dress up however you want to every day and kind of plan for that, right? You can be whoever you decide you are in that moment. It's all the different music and the different people that you get to meet and the the way the community just brings all the things, right? I
hmm
mean, there is from the big art, and so there's nothing like the art that you find out on the playa, and there's nothing like what you find in Black Rock City, right? So from bars to TED kind of talks to whatever you want to experience, there's somebody there who's offering it. And that was just such an incredibly cool concept of community for me. And and to be able to find some creative sides to me who's always been more in the logical domain than the creative domain. It was like, whoa, this is just something such a great addition to my life. How could
Yeah,
I even think
this is
of not wanting to do
possible.
this?
Like,
Yeah,
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 wow. So then
yeah.
go. So then you went back in 2012.
We went back in 2012 and we've been back every year that there was an official burn except 2014 because that happened like 3 weeks after our daughter passed away. So
I'm sorry.
yeah, we
Yeah.
weren't going to go that year.
So did you
Um,
have the same dozen people like come back with you, or?
yeah, but we've also evolved into how each of us want to burn.
Uh,
So, um, I love the idea of having a camp and offering some kind of interactivity. The guys that we
yeah.
originally went with, who were led by Hey You and his buddy Andy, who's also a very dear friend of ours, they really were more about art. They didn't want to be hosts. They wanted to
hmm
put some renegade art out on the playa and do interactive stuff. And they ultimately evolved into, getting art placed and art grants and stuff like that. And so we camped together for another couple of years, but then we kind of separated from that. It so that there were no expectations on anybody for anything. That was kind of the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Um, Another friend of ours, another of our two best friends, they decided they didn't really want to be part of a theme camp. They love camping in the burbs, and they do their own thing. They bring up they put out a little table in front of their camp that's usually somewhere on back in the
Huh.
middle of the city on I. They'll put out a table that is fishing for compliments. So they have a big jar that they put a whole bunch of compliments in, and it's
Oh.
compliments and bad cologne. So you can pick a compliment and you could take your pick of getting a whiff of bad cologne if you want. And it's adorable. And then when they're going out on the playa, they bring a big penguin in a Polaroid and they take photos of people holding the penguin
That's
and gift
awesome.
them the little, yeah. So all of us have done our thing. And we still burn together, but we've decided, many of us decided camping together because we want to do our offerings in different ways
Yeah.
was the
I'm
best
just
way.
I'm just imagining this like fishing for compliments thing, like dressing up like Ron Burgundy. You know, you want what's it, the panther gallbladder? It
Yeah,
smells
and
like
well, for them, it's
gasoline.
just a big, a big like maybe like a big old plastic pretzel jar or something that they
Yeah,
put
yeah.
in
It
there.
also kind of reminds me of some friends had what was it called? It was like a hippie fishing like bait and tackle
Yeah,
shop.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had a camp behind us one year. That was one of their activities. So you could go sit on top of their little ledge and they give you a fishing hook and throw a little bling out there and find people to
Yeah.
go get it and play with them that way. And that's kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So did you guys have like a theme camp, like an organized theme camp, or were you guys just like
So
with the
after that, my husband and I and our other two friends decided to organize our own little theme camp. So we were actually a four-person theme camp. We got placed and everything.
yeah.
We had a little 50 by 50
You don't have
spot.
to have 300 people.
We didn't need 300 people. And yeah, so it was a couple years later, and we put together first it was because our original camp that Rich had founded was called the Black Rock Ski Patrol, which was
Hmm.
really kind of funny because none of us skied. And then
Of course.
when we decided to go on our own, the first year was like an homage. We were the ski patrol outpost. So we became, my husband and I came up with the name of Ignited States. Um, just great play on words, we thought. And so we were Ignited States, the Black Rock Ski Patrol Outpost. And then later on, we dropped the Ski Patrol Outpost. And we just did, we had a birthday party because every year, one of the people that we camp with, her birthday's on September 1st. In fact, our very first burn was her 60th birthday.
Oh
And we dressed her
wow.
up and paraded her around the playa, and she got
That's
lots of hugs
awesome.
from lots of people that day. So we always had a birthday party for birthday girl. We built a couple of shot skis, and so we've always done some kind of version of fireball and shots. And then we did some little stuff. I mean, you don't have to do a lot to have interactivity and have fun with people,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so then we did that for a few years, and then ultimately we got invited to camp with a camp that was called Fucking Flamingos, which was the first 100-person camp that I camped with. Um, the leads for that was a camp that had evolved over several years, and we had been helping this guy named Ian Liljeblad. You may not have seen because you haven't been there in a long time, and I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think he was there that last year. But there's a big reggae art car,
Uh-huh.
a big reggae mutant vehicle. Looks like a great big lion's head with the colors of Jamaica along it. It's a double decker,
I think I
and
see
it's called
pictures of that.
Movement of Ja People is the name of the art car.
Ah.
And he and I met each other on E Playa after
Mm-hmm.
2011 was both of our first burns. And he said, "Hey, I live in Phoenix area. I did my first burn. I want to make an art car. I want to make it reggae themed because I think that music belongs on the playa." And he was looking for advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and so I messaged him like, "Hey, I'm not an artist, I'm not a builder, but I'm in Phoenix and I would love to help." So we became friends. And then 2017, he had camped with Fucking Flamingos for a few years. And so we just became part of his crew that year. And it was our first time with a big camp. After that, that was Fucking Flamingos last year. And the leads passed the camp on to two people. It kind of the tradition of that camp going back to late 90s was when the leads decided to retire, all the camp infrastructure would go to the next leads that they designated. And those leads had the ability to turn it into whatever they wanted. Um, and so they passed it along to our friends Lion and Sasha, who converted the camp into Cat World. And so in 2018 and 2019, we were part of Cat World. And I ended up being kind of the chief cat herder. So I took care of all the applications and all the placement and all the organizing for people to volunteer for their shifts to do things. And we had an incredible infrastructure and it was huge. And we did it for a couple years and we were over 100 people and it was so much work.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a lot of work.
we in 2022, so the year right after COVID, we came back as a teeny tiny camp. Um, and then the leads decided they were done leading camps. And so they passed it along to me. And so we rebirthed Ignited States in 2023. And now we're a camp that will never become more than 36 people.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're pretty chill and it's largely daytime stuff, but a couple of parties at night because we do have a DJ that loves to play. Uh,
Yeah.
so so
I gotta
yeah.
tell you, like one of the most underrated things at Burning Man, which something which I totally lived this past year when I went back, was getting a good night's sleep and
Yeah.
waking up the next morning. Like I had this one experience where I was like, I'm gonna wake up early and I'm gonna see the sunrise. And so I got out of my tent and I had a campmate and he was like, are you pushing on through? And I was like, what what do you mean? He was like, are you gonna stay up all night? And I was like, I just got up. Look at me. I'm a spring chicken. And
Yeah.
he just did look in his face like, "Ugh."
Yeah,
Like,
I sleep really well there. I
yeah,
it's it
yeah.
that whole cacophony of sound, it's kind of like a
It's kind of
lullaby for
like,
me.
well, I kind of know like my background. It's kind of like the ocean after a while. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
white noise kind of generator. It's like when everything kind of like combines together. It's like
Yeah,
oh,
my husband
really
uses
weird.
noise canceling headphones and earplugs and he'll find a way to go to sleep, but it's
Yeah.
really soothing for me for some reason.
But then the other thing you're talking about, like the whole camp thing, like I mean, I think I've only ever been in a camp of like maybe between 8 and 25 or something. So that's why I've been
Mhm.
saying like, I
Yeah.
missed from last was 2011 when I went back to 2024. Like I missed this whole year of like era of yeah, not only just like the year of scarcity, but the year of like super large camps, just hearing about these like 100, 200, 300 person camps.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, like,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. One of my things about Burning Man is like, there seems to be this tendency across the board of just like, I call it bigger, 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 bigger fail.
Yeah, well,
You
but I
know,
think that, the
where
thing
people
with the
get
large
burned
theme
out.
camps, there's still so many smaller camps. Like, yes, there are a bunch of huge ones.
Hmm.
And if they love what they're doing, more power to them, because some of those are really way cool.
Yeah. I think some of
Um,
them are sustainable, but it's just like the sheer number of large ones is
yes,
like I don't think
yes,
that's really sustainable over the long term. Or
yeah,
like your experience, where it's like, oh yeah, they do it for a while and then people get
yeah.
burned out and then it's like, who wants to take up this mantle of doing this crazy thing with all these people? And it's like,
Well, and it's fine for all of them, but there are still so many amazing camps that are between 5 and 50 people
oh
that
yeah.
just do the coolest stuff.
That's the thing with Burning Man. It's like you don't need much,
Right.
like you're
Right.
talking about your friends with the fishing for compliments thing. I mean,
Yeah.
like I mean, it could be a simple concept, I mean, it could be an outfit or like how you decorate your bike, or I mean, I've seen playa art installations and scare quotes installations. It's like, I mean, it's just like my kid could have made that out of paper mache. It's just like, yeah, but I mean,
Yep.
it's making some sort of a statement.
One of the things that I did, and this was just like the coolest thing for me personally, because I told you, I don't think of myself as an artist at all. I do great at organizing things. I do great at bringing people together. Um, uh, but I do find ways to get a bit creative. Like when we did Cat World, and we had, you've got a camp of 100 people and we have events and everybody needs to sign up for shifts and we got to do all the things. So I used Canva and I made these great big posters that had, like, cat faces and snarky stuff and they were really cool looking. And that year, and I forget her name and I shouldn't, but the art curator for Burning Man Project, I'm sure her name will come to me. I think she retired this past year. Anyway, she was going around the playa in 2018 looking for theme camp art. She said, "We've got so much art. We do all the art on the playa, and I'd love to see what's going on in theme camps." And she came by our camp and she looked at our posters and she said, "Can I have these? Can I take them back to Burning Man Project?" And so at the end of the event, she she came and took them, and at least one of them I know was hanging somewhere in Burning Man Project headquarters. It
So
was
what were
like,
the
oh my
posters?
God, I'm actually an artist.
So what were the posters of again? Like, what would you describe them as?
It was so one of them was like so think about a list of all the different events throughout the week and all the different shifts like mooping and doing camp, during that time we had different people would get together, so the camp would have a meal every day, but it was all teams of people from the camp putting
Mm.
the dinner together for everybody else. And then bar shifts and checking IDs and doing all the things. So it turned into this great big poster, and I had photos of cats with trash bags and cats with microphones and just ways to kind of liven it up and be in our theme. And it was very
Yeah.
colorful and but within our camp's theme colors and our logo, and she just thought it was really cool and creative. And I thought, wow, okay.
What was that? Lady B, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Lady B.
Ah, all
Yeah.
right. Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So that was really neat.
do you still do Cat World now, or
No, we do United States
oh,
now.
United
I'm not a
States?
cat person. I mean, it was fun being part of Cat World, but the two leads were cat people, so it was their thing. My playa name, though, did evolve to Sassy Cat when we became part of when we formed Cat World, though. So my
Ah,
original playa name was bestowed on me in 2011 at our first burn by one of our campmates. It was our first like real night going out on the town, if you will.
uh-huh.
And and I walked out of our pop-up trailer that we had at the time with the outfit that I had on. Now, everybody knew me as Lisa, and I tended to, I've got this conservative career, and we do all the things, and but I walked out in this whole lacy thing with hats and Bing and all that, whatever. And one of my campmates looks up and says, "Whoa, sassy britches!" And so that became my playa name, and
Ah,
that was my playa name until Cat World, and it then had to evolve into Sassy Cat. So
is it still Sassy Cat?
it is still Sassy Cat. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So what years were you doing Cat World?
We did Cat World in 2018 and 2019, and we
Ah,
did Cat World Mini in 2022. And then 2023, we became Ignited States.
I like you said you had to put mini on it.
Yeah, well, it was the first burn after COVID. A lot of people weren't able to go. The leads were exhausted. There were some other issues that prevented them from really wanting to bring a big camp back. So, in the spirit of having the camp there, we did Cat World Mini.
Ah. And so now you're doing United States, and you said it's like a smaller camp. So what do you guys do for that at United States? So, like, what's your
So it's kind of like it's not like United States where it's geographically, it's
uh
Ignited States, like think state of being, state of mind. It could be in the state that
ah
you happen to live in. I don't care, but so that's kind of the the overall thing. And so we do some daytime stuff, and kind of the theme of our daytime stuff has tended to be beverages and bad advice. So we
mm,
do a couple of mornings, we'll do mimosas with bad parental advice. And and then a couple of afternoons, we'll do for the people who wake up a lot later than that, we'll do coffee, tea, and unethical life advice. Um, Alongside of those activities, we have crafts that people can do. So we supply little flags. So you can paint a flag that a little part of it has our logo, but you can paint a flag that kind of depicts what state you're in.
ah
We've got some other crafty things that are coming to our camp this year. One of the artists in our camp is bringing a So if you come to our camp, which will be somewhere in 9 o'clock area,
Okay.
you'll see two 10-foot tetrahedron art pieces. Um,
Wow.
one of them has like these big balls dangling from it, and the other is um, like plexiglass with these amazing art inside the plexiglass, and you can
Hmm.
kind of sit inside of it. And in between the two is a shaded bench. Um,
Oh,
and so the artists who created those came up with a craft project where you could take like think straws, um, uh, and making like tetrahedron shaped straw art and
okay.
be able to put it together and turn it into kites or chandeliers or whatever you would want to turn it into.
Oh,
So um, we've got another. So my theme for my overall approach with the camp is if you've got some kind of interactivity that you want our camp to do, great, you get to lead it. I'll announce
exactly.
it. We could do it. You get to lead it. We'll get enough people in the camp to help you with the event. So
Yeah.
we've got a couple of people who built puppets and they're going to be doing puppet shows and there's a chance they're going to bring puppet making materials. We've got, like I said, we've got the DJ, so we're having a party on Wednesday night. Um, the first 100 people who come to that party will get mashed potatoes made in snow cones. So we're calling it bangers and mash.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
we
You
usually
could do
have
a lot with
something.
mashed potatoes, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but we wanted to make it easy that people didn't have to worry about having a plate or stuff. So we're just going to scoop it
Yeah.
onto an
Easy
ice
is
cream
also
cone.
another underrated thing at Burning Man. People are
Yeah.
like, how complicated can I make this? I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yeah. And
You
we're not
should
going to do more than 100 so that
easy.
we don't have to get a permit for feeding people. So
Is that what it is? More than 100? Yeah.
it's the 150, but we want to be well under that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So what do
um
you use for the cone itself? Is it just like paper or something?
no, an actual ice cream cone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. An
Okay.
ice cream cone without the ice cream.
But like a sugary ice cream cone.
A sugar cone.
A sugar cone.
Yeah, one of
Oh.
those. Yeah, they kind of go.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I was like, if it was gonna be savory, I don't know what kind. How do you make a cone out of that? Like,
Yeah.
eh.
And then on Friday afternoon, we have a happy hour, Ignite Your State happy hour, where it is um, fireball on ski shots. And I think that's everybody's favorite event because people
Uh,
really get into it.
and do you give out
Uh,
bad advice as well?
I'm
Or is that
terrible with
just a
bad
staple?
advice, but the deal is when you come for mimosas and bad advice, you give us the bad advice. So it's like, give us the worst parental advice you ever heard, or
Ah.
make some up just because you want the drink. Either way, we're cool with it. And if you
I
really can't
really
think of
like that
anything,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you can't think of anything, we've got somebody to give you some bad advice. So don't worry about it.
Wow. So your clientele for the bad advice, I mean, are they typically skew older, like parents who are just like, I got some bad advice, let me tell you.
Oh no, everybody comes and they're usually talking about really bad advice they got from their parents, right? And some of us, okay, what's
Ah,
the worst parental advice? Don't go to Burning Man, right? Grow up and become a doctor, be like
yeah.
me. I mean, people come up with the good
Yeah.
stuff, funny
Well,
stuff.
okay, I have a funny story. I'm not sure my wife wants me to tell you the story, but here it goes anyway. Because we used to do a little Airbnb thing at our house, but then after COVID, we didn't do it anymore.
Mhm.
So people would just, they go to Costco and they just like leave stuff. And so in then like my son was younger and he had some friends come by, and then one of the neighbors just is like, auntie, can I have some of these like frozen pops in the freezer? And she's like, yeah, sure, eat
Uh-oh.
the pops. And then the next day, the kid came back and was like, can I get more of those frozen pops in the freezer? And she's like, why? He's like, I really liked it. I really liked it. Like, hold on. Then she went down and she was just like, why is the flavor pina colada? And then we were like, alcoholic like ice pops? And we're like, who would make such a thing? Like we didn't
Uh,
even know such a thing even existed. That they bought it and left it there. And we're just like, and I was like, don't worry. It's like, honey, you've just won the coolest mom of the street
for
award.
sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I thought when he said like mimosas and bad advice, I thought that would be part of it. Just like, here, kid, it's fruit
Oh.
juice.
Last year, some people got really serious with it. And a couple of our campers are like, whoa, we just got somebody, their trauma kind of came out. So this year we're figuring out ways to do our best to keep it really light.
Mm,
We
mm.
don't have therapists in the camp. We don't want to push somebody over the
Yeah.
so
That also kind of reminds me of another idea I had one year. I was going to be kind of this like I don't know, like a Svengali or like it's gonna make kind of like a turban on my head and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna tell your future, but it was always kind of like this weird kind of dark future, just it's like in 5 years you're gonna meet this guy and he's gonna be wrong for you.
yeah.
He's gonna say he loves you, but he really doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've had a bunch of those.
Or it's just like, you're gonna have some friends and you're gonna get in the car and they're gonna be like, let's have a couple of drinks and let's drive. And it's like, no, you shouldn't do that. And like
Yep.
it's kind of what, yeah.
Yeah, so we have fun with it and everybody has fun with it because we're not forcing anybody to do something that they don't care about, that they don't want to do, and we've got enough people in the camp that we've got enough to go around and we also want to make sure that everybody in the camp has plenty of time to have a great burn on their own. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So the people come up and give you the bad advice. I was thinking you
yeah.
would be giving them the bad advice.
And that's usually what they think. So when they
Yeah.
find out, hey, oh, we're like, okay, you got to give us the bad advice. Some of them are like,
Wow.
um,
You got to
but
have
it's
a kid
great.
as a
It's the
bartender. Then
best.
that would make it perfect.
But everybody was a kid. You don't have to have a kid. Everybody was a kid. Everybody, and
Yeah.
even if, and
Maybe they just dress
everybody
up like one.
knows somebody, right? Everybody's had a friend who got
Yeah.
really shitty advice from their parents. So
Yeah.
it's something that everybody can relate to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So come on by. We'll be somewhere at 9 o'clock.
So you do guys do it every morning
No, Monday,
or
this year, Monday and Wednesday morning are mimosas.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
And
tell you, well, it's just a straight orange juice mimosas, or do you guys
yes,
like?
well, no, we'll do mimosa with bubbly in it, or if you don't want the bubbly, we'll just do orange juice. We
Because I
don't
gotta
force
tell
booze
you,
on
you
anybody.
gotta. It might be kind of hard to get, but you have not lived until you've had a guava juice mimosa.
Ooh.
Oh, I mean, I can show you later, but because especially here in Hawaii, there's like these different like juice companies, and you can actually order on Amazon. It's like this powder, and you can just kind of like mix it up. And so
Ah,
the past couple, or like this year, I brought some on the playa, and as I mix it up, and in the morning, like, oh, who wants guava juice? And just a straight guava juice. And everyone's like, huh, what? Like, and it's like, I put a little like put some definitely put ice in the cup, and then put some guava juice, and then after the first sip, you just look at their eyes, they're just like, what is this magical elixir? I'm like, it's called
that
guava
sounds
juice.
amazing.
Like,
That sounds
oh,
amazing.
oh yeah, and with like mimosa with like some oh, it's
Cool. All
got
right. I'm
gotta
gonna look it
try it.
up.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of bringing powdered juice instead of the jugs that we
I
normally.
gotta tell you, it's a
Mm,
lot easier. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean it's and in terms of like fresh juice versus powder, like when you're on the playa, I'm like
Right.
that's good
Right.
to me. It's like
Right.
whatever. But yeah, I mean any kind of powdered thing, it's like yeah, it's lightweight. It doesn't store. You just need to bring enough water to
Mm-hmm.
mix it, and then you
Yeah.
can I don't know, sure. I mean, depending on how many people you're serving, it's like you don't need like a full 5 gallon container. It's like you can do like one of those like just 1 gallon like
Yeah.
coolers, and you just
Yeah.
you put some ice in it, and you put the however much powder in, and
Yeah.
then you mix it up,
Yep.
and it's like yeah, 1 gallon
Cool.
is good. That's all the trick I've learned over the years. Like you pack a cup full of ice, like it's like you don't really need to pour that much like drink into someone's
Yeah.
drink, and everyone universally is like, "This is the best drink I've ever had," because it's like, yeah, because it's cold.
Right.
You just need to get a lot
Especially
of
out there.
ice. Like,
Especially
yeah,
out there.
yeah. Wow. Okay. Um. So when did you? So are you're a regional contact
I
in
am.
Arizona? So
I am.
when did that all happen? And how'd that happen?
So I I I never even knew there I had no idea there was such a thing as a region when we went to our first burn. We found out about it because that was um
Yeah. How do you?
the year or one of the 2 years that they had the effigies, the core around the man from the different regions. And
Hmm.
I found we found we hey, a saguaro. Oh my goodness, we found out there was a region called Arizona. So we started to meet people from Arizona and became a little bit involved. And then really. we started getting, and so we went to a couple Sawaromans, which is our regional burn.
What was the first year you did that?
Oh God, I don't remember because my work had me traveling so much. I think we bought tickets for every Saguaro since 2012. But we probably didn't go to our first one until maybe 2015 or so because I would always end up gifting them at the last minute because I would have to go away for work. So, but we've been to several since then. And we really started getting to know people in the region when we started camping with fucking flamingos at the Big Burn. It's kind of like that's when we started because it's largely Arizona people. And so we
Oh,
just started getting more and more involved and knowing who people were. Maybe we went to a bunch, I don't know, maybe we went to holidays and there's a few kind of standard party things that we have in the region. We've got holidays at the end of the year. We used to have 100 days. I think I need to revive that.
what's that?
We've got newbie events, we've got town halls. So I started meeting people around that, and I was out having a drink or something with a couple of the other women who've been in this region for a long time. And they're like, Lisa, you need to become an RC. Like, what is it and why? So they said, well, that's what Scotto does. That's what, Cutie Pie does. That's, so
Hmm.
so they pointed me to the place and the Burning Man website to find out more about what RC was about. And I thought, okay, well, that's cool. And I didn't think anything of it um, until a call came to the region that said, we're looking to add some RCs. I said, okay, so now let me go back to all this stuff and think about what appeals to me about it. And what appealed to me about it was one, connecting with a lot of people around, a lot of other RCs from around the world, because I love, like, my passion is the Big Burn. And my other a part of that is just this culture that's been described as the 10 principles, which in Arizona we've adapted principle zero as consent. So I'll say 11 principles. Um, but this whole culture that is described and that I aspire to live that way. And I think that it's as much of that as we could bring to the default world, the better. So if the RC's role is to help facilitate that culture in the area of the default world where they live, I
Hmm.
was all about that in any kind of ways. And so I applied, I went through interviews, and there you go. In 2020, I became an RC.
Oh, excellent.
Had no idea, even with the interviews with the folks in Arizona, I had no idea that one of the things I was getting into was becoming a person on a board of directors for the region. But that's turned out that was part of the job. So that became very interesting. But yeah, so I became an RC in 2020. Um, and and that's the year that two big things happened in 2020, for one for our region and one everywhere. One for our region was that's when our region purchased its own land. So this
Wow.
great big
That's
investment was
huge.
made.
Yeah, yeah.
Got our own land down in Wilcox, Arizona. Everybody's super excited because now we're going to have Saguaro Man, which is in the spring, on our own land. But now we had COVID and we had to cancel.
Ah.
And then we had to cancel the following year. And so it was,
Hmm.
it was a lot of drama, a lot of feelings, a lot of fear because now we had this huge investment. We had no idea how we were going to pay for it. We had to refund a ton of tickets. I mean, we paid for the investment, but now there was kind of like with needing to refund the tickets that people needed to get refund.
I need donations.
There was a lot, and we did. We pitched for
Yeah.
donations. We became a nonprofit. We pitched for I mean, so
God, I have
we
so many questions about this. But
there
anyway,
was
yeah.
so much stress involved in all of that. But we made our way through it. In the process, so one of the big things that I was involved in for our region was converting what was an LLC into a nonprofit 501(c)(3).
Mm.
We did it about the most complicated way that a region could go about it. So we have three legal entities, which we really don't need all three. So we're probably going to untangle some of that and resimplify. But so it's kind of, it's cool being a nonprofit. We learn a ton. Um, we've learned a ton about being a region that owns your own land. Um,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, no, because there's not
it,
many. I mean, I
there's
think
not. There's
that's
there's a small handful.
yeah. I mean, that's always been kind of like the great, like, kind of holy grail golden dream for like us here in Hawaii. Because like I started the Hawaii Regional in 2002 and then retired in 2012. And even to this day, like the hardest part of doing it is just finding a place. I mean, to do an
Yes.
event. And
And there
there's
and
you
and
just
we've
look
learned some
around
things. Yeah, we've
and
learned
then
some
like,
things to
oh,
watch out for.
yeah,
Like we've had real struggles. Like this is the Saguaro man that we just had is the last one that we're going to have on that land.
why?
Um, because we we bought the land in an area that's ultimately zoned for residential purposes. It's
Ah,
40-acre homestead plots. And so we have two 40-acre plots that are next to it. So we have 80 acres, but we still have neighbors. And we still have neighbors who can hear our sound.
oh,
We have neighbors, and the road to get in there is a dirt road, like a packed dirt road. But when you've
yeah,
got when you've got all the traffic coming through, it kicks up
yeah.
all the dust. So their homes get dusted. They don't like the sound, even when we're abiding by sound code, because that's not why they moved to the sticks. And they're
Yeah.
very worried about fire, even though we
Of
get the permits
course.
every
Yeah.
year. So it's become
Hmm.
it's become a really we decided we don't want to be the kind of neighbors that our neighbors don't want to have.
Yeah.
Um, we
So what are
had
you gonna do with
applied
the
for a
land?
special kind of permit that we could do other smaller things on the land, and
Uh-huh.
we got turned down because all of the neighbors participated in that
Yeah.
process, and the elected commissioners who had to make a decision needed to listen to the voters.
Yeah, the constituents, yeah,
So
voters, yeah.
so we're not quite sure what we're going to do with the land right now. We'll have our decompression there in October. Um, we're thinking about, one idea might be, do we keep the land and turn it into our own version of Fly Ranch? Like make it like a big maker space and experimental in agriculture and sustainability. And, we got the
Like,
land for really cheap. So
yeah. Is it more like
before we
just
just decide to
daytime kind
sell
of
it,
things, like no
we
overnight camping?
also, the really interesting thing, Andy,
Uh-huh.
really cool thing. So out of like all this, oh my God, comes some amazing things. Um, after these hearings were done, and they made the news down there, after the hearings were done, the mayor of another city nearby
Mm-hmm.
wrote to us and said, "What can we do to bring you guys to our city?"
Oh.
The mayor of the town of Wilcox, which is where we're attached to, we ultimately heard from that mayor and his team, and they said, "We understand the difficulties that you've had being in the neighborhood where you are. We love that you guys come here. We've
Oh.
actually run the numbers. They borrowed some software from another township.
Yeah. We like your
They
money.
ran the numbers, and here's some interesting things. The degree to which, because it's a very small town, the degree to which we impact their economics positively, they can't overlook. Um, the when we bring our 1,200 person event, we increase the population ever so slightly, and during that period of time, the crime rate goes down. So they've got a
Ooh.
better crime rate due to us being there. Um,
Oh.
Things like that are just like, so they ran the numbers and they said, we think that we could find land for you to
Oh.
use around here that we could turn this into a win-win. So not land
Wow.
for us to buy, but land for us to use. So they found some. We had a team of people go look right before Saguaro Man, and it looks really promising. We also had the mayor and the city manager, the mayor's father, the mayor's wife, the city manager's spouse, and other people like their version of, their Department of Public Works, a whole team of them. They're the ones who led our team through looking at this land that they had thought was going to be right for us, which it very well may be.
Wow.
We invited them to come to Sorrow Man.
Excellent
So,
idea. Good
so
idea.
they
Yeah.
came and they came about 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. We had two art cars, basically, bringing them on a tour, and they stopped at different camps and they participated, and and our kitchen crew that's there mainly for the volunteers had some charcuterie boards prepared for them, and I mean, I, it was just, I'll give you like two snippets from this because I've never heard of a region having cities trying to get them in. I've only heard about all of the angst that goes around,
I'm so
right?
jealous.
Like what we experienced with the neighbors. They're doing part of their tour, and one person in their entourage, I won't say exactly who, was first thing they said was, they're looking, imagine looking around a regional, right? A small version of Burning Man, and you've got the camps and you've got the big art and you've got all of this stuff going on. There's infrastructure there. They're like, pays for all of this, which which gave our team a great opportunity to talk about gifting and communal efforts and how it all actually comes to be and how everybody's participating in their own way. And they were like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so as they talk about gifting, the same person then starts thinking aloud, what would my gift be? What would I be able to gift if I was here? And so
Wow.
then they're having this conversation about how much this person loves the game of golf. And ultimately said, I know, I'll gift Arnold Palmer's.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then another person in the entourage gave like the lead who's been coordinating all of this with the town as they were leaving, he took a medallion
Uh,
off of a chain that he had, and he gave it to the lead
oh,
who organized. He said, "I'd like you to have this." So
oh
it's like,
wow.
and then so the official visit was over. A bunch of them stuck around till like 2 o'clock in the morning, just participating, and then a bunch of them came back on Saturday to
Wow.
participate more. So
Wow.
it was the coolest thing to happen. We're still talking with that other city as well. I mean, we've got two mayors like who would love for us to be there and want to help us find the right spot
Wow.
so that we can have a burn the way we love to, where we can
Yeah.
play loud music, where we can burn the effigy and the temple and the other art that's meant to be
And
burned, where we can,
it's such the opposite experience of we've had here.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
like we go around and we talk to people that just like, nah, nah. And then like most of like the large land, like there's in Hawaii, there's a few like owners of like large land. It's basically it's like the federal government, the state government, the military,
mhm,
Castle and Cook, like Dole, you know, and they own like, the thousands of acres or hundreds of thousands of acres, and we're like, we just need some little snippet over here and be perfect. And we're just like, no,
yeah.
like it's like
We've
we'll
had
leave
we've
no
had great
trace.
experience with law enforcement as well in the area.
Uh-huh.
We've needed to call them in a couple of times, and they've just been fantastic. And they're like,
Wow.
"Hey, you guys do this right. Whenever you need us, you just call."
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
love the whole, it's just like, it's like I'm open to being wooed. Like I have two suitors, it's like really because,
yeah,
the town next door has told me this. And it's like, oh, really?
yeah,
Really?
we're
Wait,
really not playing them against each other.
well,
We just
no,
everybody
no.
wants the
But
right
it's,
thing,
it's kind of like
So
Gerlach,
mhm,
where Burning Man is, the
yeah,
Black Rock Desert. It's like this tiny little town, and
yeah,
it's starting in like 1990 and going through the years, like more and more and more people showing up, and
right,
like the Washoe County like sheriff's office. It's like it's a huge money maker for them for this tiny little
sure,
place in the middle of nowhere, so
yeah,
it's like even if it's like, oh yeah, my constituents are complaining about the noise, or they're like, oh, they saw some like naked hippie or something. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
but like the grocery store down the street, like over that long weekend that they were here, it's like their sales went up like 5,000% or something, and
yeah,
like in all the restaurants and the gas station, and
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's
amazing.
when the towns run the numbers and see the positive impact that we actually have.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, it's
On the
also
other
good.
on the other side of it, though, we really also need to be good neighbors, right? So it's not just about the
Yeah.
numbers. You
Because that
need to
was the
make
other thing
sure that you're,
gonna bring up, and I'm sure you're an ace at this too, because like one of the things when we were running some events and people were kind of like skeptical, you know, we had all our bases covered, and so going into it, like I made an entire binder. I was just like,
Hmm.
okay, we have like our permits, we have our
Yeah.
insurance, like here's our fire plan, here's our medical plan. It's just like everything is like boom, 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 boom. So like when like the fire inspector came in, they were just like, I'm here to inspect, and we're like, come on in,
Yeah.
look around, see whatever you want. And they're just like, well, I need to. I was like, here's our binder, and they're just like
Yep.
looking at the binder, and they're looking around, and where we were doing on the Big Island, the police had this. Their theory was that any gathering of 100 people or more in their mind was technically a riot. Because
Hmm.
I guess that's just how things kind of would go, and
Hmm.
we, we had like 600 people in the jungle, and everybody from young to old, like all different people, and they came in just be like all coming in hot, and it was like, oh my God, and then we're just like, yeah, look around, see whatever you want. Here's the binder, and they just were like, how I don't understand. Like, how is this? How is this big? And then what the funniest thing was, like, for years afterwards, you would just keep hearing these stories of people like having like these parties and the cops coming and busting them, and then the cops just being like, "You guys, you're doing this all wrong. You need to do like these Burning Man people, okay?" It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that was like, oh, that made my heart was so good. I was like, I feel so warm inside.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, so that's been, it's been like freaking out and but it all turning, kind of like the phoenix
Wow.
rising from the ashes. Good things come out of
Yeah,
challenging times, right?
exactly. Well, it's kind of like one of my little slogans for my show, because people say "Shadow of the Man." That's so dark. I'm like, no, no, no. It's like I'm more interested in the phoenix than in dwelling in the flames.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
much more
I like that.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I gotta come to Saguaro, man, one of these days.
We love it.
I'd
And I
love
was
to.
thinking I'd love to do a burn in the jungle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, things have kind of
Yeah.
not as active here as they used to be.
Yeah.
We're trying to like revive things here, but I don't know, because part of the whole I was talking about my shadow shorts thing. I was thinking it's like, oh yeah, I'll start to try it out in the playa, but I was like, I'd love to go to some other regions and just be like,
Yeah.
hey, like let's see what's in Burning Man's impact in your life here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. The BRCVR, so Athena was here. We
Hmm.
do we do an event every year called Ignite. And we partner with um artistic community in the Phoenix area. We'll find a space. We used to do it at this one gallery, and this year we did it at a different place in a different town in the Phoenix area. And Ignite is about community outreach, like default community outreach. What is this thing called Burning Man and in our area Saguaro Man? And you've been curious about it. So we have people bring their art, people bring their art cars, and they get to experience kind of, the whole feel and immersion of it. And so Athena brought the
The
virtual reality version
yeah,
of it,
yeah.
and she was one of our artists that showed that, and it was
Ah,
really, really pretty amazing. And so I think that once people kind of get to experience a bit of it, a lot of the preconceptions might
yeah.
go away.
So is Ignite like more urban setting?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
we do it in the city of Phoenix, or this
Okay.
time it was in the city of Tempe. It's a place to go to. So the inside of the gallery is all set up with the walls will have art on it. Where interactive activities can fit, they'll fit inside. We had one group of so Athena was part of it. We had one group that had this whole like light show kind of thing that you could manipulate and project on a screen.
Wow.
We had DJ in the back. We had some, kind of, I don't know, talks. We had a boutique, so a burner boutique in the back room where
Hmm.
in the back. And this particular location actually had changing rooms in there so people could try on stuff and take home a new cool outfit. We had some chill areas. We had a center camp area. We had an information area. And then outside we had a bunch of art cars. Um, and uh and they did their thing out there. So it was like an
Wow.
inside outside kind of thing. This year we had over 700 people got tickets. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, it's an official event. So we might be the first of these types of official events. We've been doing it since 2019. And
Wow.
and it's a way to, give all of our artists a chance to show their stuff to people that are not just at a burn too. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. We're kind of going a little long here now. I should get to my second question. So yeah. So what was your life like before Burning Man? Like I mean, well, how old were you when you first went to Burning Man? Because I mean, I remember like I was like what 26 or something. I think the average age of people like going to the first Burning Man is like in their 20s or
I
something.
know we were old when we got there. So I'm 68 now, and that was 11 years ago. So, right,
Like
that was 14 years ago.
14.
So
Yeah.
so I was in my early 50s. Like I
Okay.
said, my best friend, her 60th birthday was our first burn.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yep.
Did
But
you grow up in Arizona or?
I grew up in Chicago. Both my
Okay.
husband and I grew up in Chicago, north side of Chicago. And we knew we wanted to get away. And so in the early 80s, we moved here to Phoenix, but we moved away and came back twice. We moved to the San Francisco area in the early 90s. Yeah, we were in San Francisco in the early 90s. We lived in Millbrae. And then we were there for a couple of years. We came back here. And then 10 years later, we moved to the East Coast. We were in the Boston area, a
Okay.
job move for me. I got recruited. So life before I was, very much the professional. It was all about the job and raising the kids and going camping and listening to music. I mean, we've always been music lovers, Grateful Deadheads. Um, we've always been about having fun. My husband and I met at a costume party.
Oh, there you go.
And yeah, always been into the cool things, I guess, but never that. And and then after we were in the Bay Area, in the Boston area for a couple of years, we came back here. So uh yeah, and we got back here in late 2006, which was perfect timing because I think I mentioned to you earlier, our oldest daughter ended up getting diagnosed with brain cancer in the first part of 2007.
Uh-huh.
We happened to live right next, literally walking distance from one of the top 10 brain centers in the world. So she was able to get all of her treatment here. And she kicked its ass in a cancer that is
Wow.
that you're expected to live not more than a year and a half. She made it happen for more than 7 years.
Wow.
And yeah, during that time, she went to Burning Man. Right. So, then we got to burn together for a couple of years before she passed away.
Yeah.
And yeah, so life before burn was career, family, lots of music, all those kind of things, but nothing ever like Burning Man or Burning Man community. And so it's I know a later question is, how has it changed your life?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, we can
I
get into that now, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to tell about life before Burning Man.
Yeah.
60 years is a lot of story, which is irrelevant for the folks who are
Yeah.
listening.
Well, one quick question.
Yeah.
Does your daughter still go to Burning Man?
Well,
Like,
my
or
daughter that went to Burning Man passed away in
wait,
2014.
you have another daughter?
My other daughter has zero desire.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Although she and her husband got married in March of 2023, they had a teeny tiny private ceremony and Danny and I said, but we'd still love to throw you a party. And so we did throw them a party. They gave us permission. So their actual wedding party was in October of 2023. And they gave us permission to bring as much Burning Man spirit as we wanted to the party. So they love the spirit. They have no desire to do the kind of camping that's involved.
Yeah. Is it like every child parent relationship, like the Alex Keaton kind of effect, or it's just
I don't
like,
know because
no, not
Jen, our
there.
oldest daughter, was a pure burner. I mean, she just
Ah,
loved it, and I know other people, right? There are multi-generational burning
yeah,
families, so
yeah.
I think it's just different personalities is
Oh.
all.
Well, anyway, let's get to our last question, the impact and influence of Burning Man on your life.
Um, so one is the hope that there is this, even if it's a temporary city that has a culture that's been described by these 10 principles, it gives me kind of hope. And so I feel like I have it feels like me. So, and Burning Man has helped me feel so much more empowered to bring that into my life outside of Black Rock City. In addition to that, um, so I think I mentioned you would classify me as a business consultant. I practice in a different kind of knowledge base than most business consultants do, but you could classify me that way. And and I also have brought a ton of the creative sense of Burning Man into my consulting practice. Like if you go to my website, you'll see a website that doesn't look at all like a consultant's website. It's
Mm-hmm.
colorful. It's and I bring a lot of that into things like workshops and how to help my clients how to think better. It's not just about the logic. It's about all the freedom that you give yourself to think things through with all the senses that you
Yeah.
have. So it's changed our friendship circle. Um, like I would say, I mean, we still have the same four best friends, but Danny and my circle of friends has just grown so much, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say it is mostly burners, and 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 I love that. Um, yeah, I guess those are the big ways. Just
Yeah.
freedom to be creative, um, hope with the principles, and as an RC, like that's like I'm not the most RCs, their job is largely running the annual regional burn, and I leave that to my co-RC, who's that's her passion.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find me at things like Ignite. You'll find me doing things like the newbie events, the town halls. These are the things. Let's bring the community together. Let's bring this into our world. Like that's where I'm at. So,
Yeah,
it's,
that's wonderful. That's
yeah.
funny. It was like the episode with Megs, I think I just dropped. One of the things we were talking about like, oh, my friends are burners, like, and so we've basically it's like you have friends everywhere, and so we're joking around.
Yeah.
It was like you could just blindly throw a dart at the map and just like, I'll go
Hmm.
there, and then afterwards just be like, let's see who I know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just like, well, I've never really talked to this person before, but they're a regional contact in
Yeah.
New Hampshire or Latvia or wherever.
Exactly.
It's like
Exactly.
they'll be like, oh, hey, come on in. And like,
It's quite a network that we have.
yeah.
One of the things I did last year was I participated in the second phase of the 25 to Thrive initiative.
Uh-huh.
Um, and uh, and I think that's what that whole initiative is trying to tap into. I mean, this network that we have is just, it's so cool. And it can be such a compelling and
Hmm.
wonderful community. And the more we're able to put people together like that, okay, I'm going here.
Yeah.
How can I plug into the burners there, right? I know that I
Yeah.
can get good advice on where to go, where not to go. I can have somebody to visit with, right? Somebody will have my back.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, because when I was active, and when I was still, I'm now, retired. I don't know if you see my shirt. Last year I did the first, no, we did the first uh, alumni reunion
right,
on the
right.
playa last year, and so I made these T-shirts they'd give out. This is like, oh, we're all alumni. Why not have an alumni reunion? But one of the things I was always interested
Yeah.
in
So for your
was
listeners, if this makes the cut, just I'll describe. He just stood up and showed me his graduated Burning Man
oh
t-shirt.
yeah, sorry. That's right. It's audio. Yeah. I'll have to put a picture of that in the show notes. But it's funny because it's not the first episode where like I'm like, oh yeah, it's like it's just it's a man logo with a little head cap and not gown, but just a diploma.
Yeah.
But no, but the thing I've always been interested in like was like the summits and the global leadership
Yeah.
conference, and then I started this thing on the fly called the Regional Information Center. It became the Regional Network Center, which became everywhere, which now doesn't really exist anymore. But it was like like Burners Without Borders. Like they have a camp.
Mhm.
I mean. I mean, I know that there was always been like the yearly kind of gathering on the playa for regional contacts,
Yep.
but it's, an hour or two, and I mean, in the years past, it was always like this boozy kind of thing, and so I was like, how about we have like a clubhouse, a place where it's like not only like the regionals can get together and talk to each other, but also, just random like participants and burners can kind of come up and like learn about like the different regionals. And
Hmm.
it was always a lot of fun, and it's just
Hmm.
like over the course of the week. And so we would set up these shifts, these like I think they were 2 hour shifts. I don't think they were 4 hours. That's probably too long. But and then we were like, oh yeah, we'd have like two different RCs, for each 2 like hour shift, and then everyone just kind of sign up, and then like I don't know, it's funny. Was it Anthony in New Orleans? So I was like, Andy's always giving us homework to do. Yeah, like I had everybody like make a poster, and I was just like, I'm gonna make these crappy posters for your regional based on like the information that you put up on the map on the website, which is notoriously kind of out of date. It's like, or you can make your own, and so like in the beginning, like a couple of people did it, but as the years went by, like more and more
Yeah.
people were just like, oh yeah, and they got like really creative, and it was a fun way of just having just the time to just sit down like on the
Hmm.
playa in the shade, and then different people would kind of come by, and would be either other RCs or just like other burners, and
Yep.
and like you're saying, like just there's so many burners are just like, oh, I had no idea Burning Man was like in my hometown or
Right.
my region, and
Right.
like, oh yeah, it's like right over here, yeah.
Yep. Yep. I love that idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd volunteer for a 2 hour shift for something like that.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's funny because like Stephen Raspa, like I remember I always kind of drive him crazy, which is like, hey, Stephen, I got this crazy idea. And he's like, oh, God, not again, another Andy idea. But Stephen was instrumental in like actually getting that going in the first place. And where was it, 2003, 2004 was the first year of it. And like DPW made this just ramshackle little like shack, and I remember like I was pretty basically the only real volunteer. And I had a couple of people come by, and there'd be like a big windstorm coming by, and I'd like race down there with my staple gun, and I'm like stapling these like like these posters back up to these like potato chipping like plywood. But I don't know. I'm sure I'll have to bug Steven. Just be like, hey Steven, let's do that again. And he'll be like, oh, not again.
Well, you know how we do that kind of stuff in our region. You got a great idea, go for it. It's yours. Make it
Yeah.
happen.
Well, going back to the whole like core thing, it's like basically how core came about was I think it was 2010. Like I didn't go that year, and I was like drinking, and I was just like, I got this funny idea. It's like, what if we like brought like, a dozen effigies like from the various regional burns, and we set them up like around the man. And like original concept was like, yeah, during burn night, and it'll be a simultaneous burn. Like we'll burn all these effigies, and we'll
Oh my
fire
God.
fireworks that'll shoot like into the man, and that'll light up the man. And I think like Crimson and Dave X who just had like a spontaneous like heart attack, like, oh look, no, like are you insane? But then I don't know, it was just like a one paragraph like little thing. I posted on the regionals list. I was like, hey, what about this crazy idea? And within a week, like there were 20 regionals who were just like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Burning Man, the project was just like, yeah, we're not really interested. Yeah, it was like, they kept trying to throw cold water on us, and they're like, I don't know, we don't think that we can organize this. And I was like, don't worry, I'll organize it. And then like after like a couple of months, I realized like I personally can't do this from Hawaii, you know. And so I was like, I need to pass this off. So I passed it off, and like my friend Curtis and Andy Grace, like they took it on, and yeah, and then it grew and became what it was. And it was kind of like the idea with the regional information center, like a group project for the regionals to come together and do something.
Hmm.
There's multiple goals, it's
Hmm. Sure.
like each region can kind of like organize to do something, apply an art project, like the regionals together will all do this like project. It'll also attract like other burners and
Hmm.
from like their region but I guess it happened again the next year, but then it was like I think it was another example of the bigger bust kind of thing where it's just like
Could be.
it grew out of control, and then they were just like, no more.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We didn't do anything like that, but to your point about using something like a project like that to
Hmm.
bring
Yeah.
locals together, um, not last year, but the year before, the temple was the temple with all the that was made like flowers.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and they had put a call out say, hey, we can use from all over flowers, right? So make flowers. And
That's a great idea.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I took that on in our region. I put out a notice and I said, anybody interested in doing this, like as a region, contributing to this pillar of flowers? And so we ended up with, I think we got a bunch of donations and we got a bunch of people. There must have been maybe 40 people that got together and we had a work day.
Hmm.
And we had a few people, leading up to that got all the kit of materials that we needed, that put together the design, that used the CNC machines to cut them out. And we had an assembly day with, I think it must have been 30, 40 people from the region
Hmm.
that assembled them all. And then we packed them very carefully and sent them off to Oakland. And they were all a part of the temple that year.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
was such a great feeling. Like
Yeah.
everybody who was involved, it was such a wonderful feeling.
I don't know, it just made me think, just, I don't know. I'm sure Steven's gonna be like, not another idea, Andy. It's really a great, I mean, not for this year, but like, maybe for a future year. You know how they always have like the temple competitions, but it's like, how about this idea for a temple? It's like something exactly like that, where it's like, this will be like the communal temple, or like uh, various players from around the world, whether it's regions and artists. It's, like maybe have like the original thing would just be like the kind of skeleton of it, but
Hmm.
it would be fleshed in by various other groups. It's kind of like
That
that.
could be
Like,
really interesting. It would take a
yeah.
lot of coordination, and I can hear the yes buts already, but
Hmm.
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would take a lot of coordination, but so we need someone like you, with some professional coordinating.
That's not something I'm volunteering for.
Maybe someone out there listening, they can put
The
together a
smaller
bunch of,
scale part of it, right? If the design is there and we know what corner we're going to do, I can get a bunch of burners in Arizona to participate. But
yeah, but I
on
don't know. Maybe
that
there's
global
someone
scale, nah, that's not
like
me.
ambitious person out there is just like, I want to submit a design for the temple for
Yeah.
2026, and it's going to be the communal temple. All right. Well, I think we've been going.
Yeah, we've been going for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been an awesome interview. Oh, so if there's any ways people you want people to reach you, do you have like some
Yeah,
contact?
Arizona at burningman.org is the way you get to me through email.
Okay.
If you want to get to our region's website, go to azburners.org.
Okay.
Our Saguaro Man is always the fourth weekend of April.
Oh, fourth weekend of April. Okay.
Ignite is sometime in March, and our decompression is sometime in October. But yeah, if there's any Arizonans that are listening to this that aren't already plugged in with our region, I would love to hear from you. So
Yeah.
Arizona at burningman.org.
Arizona at Burning Man. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful interview.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there's one more thing. If you
But
publish this
uh-huh.
before mid-June,
Well, I think
our
this is
newbie
gonna.
event is June 14th. I think that's the date.
Oh, I think this is gonna be the July 1st.
Okay, cool. No
Yeah.
worries. All right.
All
No need to plug that then.
right. Well, anyway, just for people to know, newbie event
Yeah,
June
yeah,
14th.
yeah,
Even though
yeah.
we're hearing this probably 2 weeks ago. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please subscribe, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts. It just helps to get this show seen. Please tell a friend and help to spread the word. If there's enough support, we can do a lot more of these shows and publish more shows per month. If you would like to contact us about being a guest, what you think about the show, or whatever, please send an email to shadowofthemanpodcast, that's all one word, at gmail.com. You can also follow Shadow of the Man on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. The links for these pages are all available on the front page of shadowoftheman, all one word, .com. See you next month for a new episode of The Shadow of the Man.
Thank you for listening to this latest show. We have to make another one, so gotta go. Don't worry, for next month we already have one in the can. Very soon you'll be listening to a new Shadow of the Man.